Hey guys, it's me, Alexander Jarvis from alexanderjarvis.com, and now we're going to be going through video 4 on the e-commerce financial model. If you haven't dealt with the other sheets in the other videos, the 3 videos before this, make sure you do those because they're some of the more important ones. This is sort of an optional sheet, to be honest, but it's also helpful you to think about how you're going to apply your funds and how you're going to communicate those to investors. This is going to be a short video. And please bear in mind that I built this stuff a long time ago, so I can't really remember how it all works in like crazy detail. So I've actually written a blog called The Source and Use Runway Calculator, Spending Made Easy. So what I basically did was I went to my model, I ripped it out, made it a little bit simpler in some ways, so that everyone can have it for free so they can apply the same learnings for them. Yes, I'm like startup Jesus that way. Whatever. Joking. So you can check this out, like if it's really important to you, and I've written like loads of stuff, and there's also a video I made for the SaaS model a while ago, which you can check out. It's like me, a little bit younger, explaining how it all kind of works. And so the learning should basically be the same thing because it's like the sheet from it. But we'll go through this quickly since I want to do this properly. So anyway, let's go into the sheet here, source and uses. So basically, once you've done all the model and you're happy with the numbers, you can making sure like how you're going to apply your funds. And so that's like source, how much money am I getting? Use, how am I going to spend it? And there's a gross and net basis. You want to be thinking about your burn, right? And your runway. So your gross burn is going to be how much money you're spending. Your net burn is going to be how much you're spending less your revenue. Okay, so if you're making loads of revenue and you actually even that will make you profitable, your runway is going to be forever. If you're earlier stage, you're not profitable, I would plan my fundraise based on your gross runway and not your net runway, because you can't rely on revenues for certain. And things go wrong, right? Maybe you have a PR emergency or something, who knows? So conservatively, I would base the amount of money you need based on your gross runway as opposed to your net runway. And that will then factor in buffer so that you have extra months to figure things out. Because trust me, everything always goes wrong in startup, which I'm sure you know. So to do this sheet, which bear in mind it's optional, it just helps you think things through more. You set in the date that you're raising. Again, I built, as you can see, like I built this like a couple of years ago, okay? So forgive me. You put in what the actual date that you're going to close your runway, close your fundraising. And again, there's notes for freaking everything here to explain it, probably even better than I can explain it right now. So let's pretend that's June 2017 or like June 2020, okay? Just because my dates are set here, I can't be bothered to change it right now. Well, let's leave it as, but just pretend, okay? So how many targeted months of runway do you want to have with your funds? Call it 18 months. And this is then going to have a lookup function and add up 18 months of your costs and maybe your revenue on the net basis and figure out how much it costs. So that on an 18 months basis, that would mean on November 2018, your runway ends. So if you don't have enough money to pay for the costs on a gross and net basis, there's going to be a problem, okay? So we can see the implications of your runway here. So the total gross burn, which is X revenue, safe for assumption, is going to be, say we need 7.3 million. So the required gross raise, which I'm just rounding up because people like round numbers. So how much are you raising, Alex? 7.294 million. I'm like, okay, that's intriguing. Why is it that number? Just call it, I'm raising about 8, around that, okay? The number is a little bit more specific, but we can talk about that later. So to get to your net fundraise, it's going to be adjusting for your revenue, which tells you how much you need on a net basis. So there's a big discrepancy here. There may or may not be. Okay, it depends on how much revenue you're generating. And so you can work the other way around and say, well, how much is my target raise as opposed to how much I need? So this is saying on the basis of your expenses or less your revenue. Other way around, I want $3 million. How long will that spend? So on applied gross runway basis, it means that you can last 12 months. On a net basis, you can last another 8 months, so you can survive for 20 months with no new funding. Okay, and so these basically do calculations based on taking numbers from the forecast, categorize them up, and making it simple. And so you see the outputs of these in this Marimekko chart, which is what's the potential allocation by the block of category, and the category is potential total. So we can see S&M as a part of the paid marketing, inventory, logistics, what it takes, staff, salaries. So we've got 1.4 million on paid marketing here, and we have other associated costs from S&M. do these kind of make sense? So you can potentially put this into your pitch deck if you wanted. It's not a normal thing to do, but I think it's a kind of cool chart to look at. You have your normal pie chart. I don't put financials, by the way, in pitch decks, but I'm not covering this here. You have a radar chart. It's like, why not? It's kind of cool to look at. And here we can look at your at how your costs have been spent over time. This is a mistake because it probably took it out of the SaaS model as an improvement. So we don't have your billings and MRR here. I'll fix it, whatever. And how costs are being allocated over that runway time. So we can see, I don't know, like this gray thing kind of seems to be increasing. What's that? Customer care. Okay, so it seems like as we're getting bigger, we're not scaling our customer care. It's becoming quite a large component of this. Is that actually right or is it wrong? Probably something wrong with the model then. Maybe we should check it. But you can see how your costs being allocated over time. That's basically it. If you want to see how it's all been calculated, I basically do this double entry thing where all the costs are then categorized here. You can see how everything's been allocated. And then I do all these funky calculations at the bottom to make the pie charts and the Marimekos. All sorts of fun, right? And the calculation down below. But basically, there's only a couple of things you whack in, and it says, well, look, for my runway, when I think I'm going to close my round, how long am I raising for? Or other way around, I want to raise 3, how long will I last? 12 months? I want at least 18 months because that's what Alex said I should do, or other VCs said I should do. So it's just a useful tool to figure out how much you should raise. How should this apply to it? Hopefully this is kind of useful, but otherwise, as I said, check out a blog that I've written because I've written in proper detail back when I actually really knew what I was talking about, hopefully. And hopefully it'll explain. There you go. So the next video we're going to be doing is we're going to go through KPI and charts, which is in some ways, by the way, if you want to leave a comment, do that. And by the way, this is public. So if you leave comments, don't put in like your phone number and say, hey, can you call me? Because people actually do that. Have read these. Otherwise, do that sheet last when you've actually done the model and you want to be thinking through your fundraise in a lot more detail. That's what the sourcing sheet is for. And it'll make a lot more sense when you spent time on the model and now you're thinking about the implications of this for your business. So, see you up in the next video, guys. Bye.